Welcome to Express Tribune Headlines. Here are the top stories for today. Pakistan has shied away from labeling the ongoing talks with the IMF as formal program negotiations, instead stating that the discussions are focused on further engagement with the fund. The Finance Ministry did not specify the nature of this engagement, unlike previous occasions when it sought the extended fund facility. An official handout noted that the IMF mission, led by Nathan Porter, met with the Finance Minister to initiate these talks. However, the visit has been overshadowed by unrest in Azad Jammu and Kashmir, prompting the Prime Minister to approve a 23 billion rupee unbudgeted subsidy to mitigate the situation.
During a heated session in the National Assembly, Defence Minister Khaja Mohammad Asif called for imposing Article 6 of the Constitution on former Field Marshal Ayub Khan, in response to demands by Umar Ayub, the opposition leader and Ayub Khan's grandson. Umar had emphasized that security agencies should remain apolitical, advocating for constitutional boundaries and expressing concerns about the decline of freedom of expression, including the ban on Platform X. He also pushed for a judicial review of recent political events. Asif criticized Ayub Khan for instigating Pakistan's first martial law and violating the constitution, suggesting a posthumous imposition of Article 6. The session saw intense exchanges and was marked by slogans and disruptions, leading to its adjournment until the following day.
The Election Commission of Pakistan has raised 7 objections regarding the PTI's intra-party elections held on March 3rd. The ECP noted that PTI failed to conduct these elections under Section 208 of the Elections Act for the past 5 years, leaving the party without an organizational structure. Additionally, PTI did not submit the required documents for enlisting under Section 202. The ECP requested the status of the general body and the appointment of the Federal Chief Election Commissioner, pointing out discrepancies in PTI's adherence to its constitution.
Imran Khan, the former Prime Minister and PTI founder currently detained in Adiala jail, has declared his intention to communicate with Army Chief General Asim Munir about Pakistan's current situation. This announcement follows Khan's steadfast refusal to succumb to military pressures, despite recent calls from the military urging those involved in the May 9th protests to apologize before any dialogue can proceed. Khan outlined the grim economic state of the nation, highlighting the disproportionate tax collections versus debt interest payments, and predicted severe impacts on the salaried class with upcoming budget changes. He also addressed the contentious issue of inflated power bills in Azad Jammu and Kashmir, predicting further unrest. Khan refused to comment on a potential meeting with party leader Sher Afzal Marwat, emphasizing the need for discipline and unity within the party.
Pakistanis could see a significant drop in fuel prices starting May 16th, with the ex-depot petrol rate expected to decline by Rs 13.4 per litre and high-speed diesel by 8.19 per litre. This comes as global prices have tumbled following stability in the Middle East after the Iran-Israel missile attacks. The price of petrol could fall to Rs 275 per litre and HSD to 273 per litre. These adjustments depend on the government's approval, which could bring much-needed relief to consumers amid fluctuating global oil prices.
Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif highlighted the strong 7-decade relationship between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia in an interview with Al Arabiya English, describing it as unparalleled. He detailed recent bilateral talks and business delegation visits that have outlined clear cooperation strategies, especially in sectors like mining, renewable energy, and agriculture. Sharif also emphasized the potential benefits of Saudi expertise in information technology for Pakistan. The discussions have set the stage for the upcoming visit of Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, which aims to further enhance investment, trade, and cultural ties. This visit follows a series of engagements intended to strengthen economic relations amidst Pakistan's efforts to overcome economic challenges.
The Pakistani rupee trickled down to Rs 0.08 to close at Rs 278.2 against the US dollar in the interbank market on Monday. This slight decline follows the International Monetary Fund's detailed review report on Pakistan's economy, highlighting significant challenges ahead. The rupee had previously closed at 278.12 on Friday. Despite recent stability, the rupee-dollar parity signals underlying economic pressures. Since September 2023, the rupee has gained 10.39%. Israeli forces have intensified operations in Gaza, pushing deep into the northern ruins and crossings into Rafah in the north. This has led to some of the most intense fighting in weeks. Israeli operations have closed a key aid crossing, worsening conditions for hundreds of thousands of displaced people. Gaza's health authority has appealed for international intervention to allow aid and medical supplies through the southern border. In Jabalia, tanks and airstrikes have devastated the refugee camp, leading to further displacement and casualties. Michael Cohen, former fixer for Donald Trump, began testifying on Monday at Trump's criminal trial in New York. Cohen is expected to detail his role in arranging $130,000 hush money payment to adult movie star Stormy Daniels to silence her claims of a 2006 affair with Trump. Cohen's testimony is central to the prosecution's case, which alleges that Trump falsely labeled the reimbursement as legal expenses to cover violations of election and tax laws. Trump has pleaded not guilty to all charges, claiming the case is politically motivated. Crews in Baltimore conducted a controlled explosion on Monday to remove a section of the collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge from the bow of a container ship that struck the bridge in March. The explosion broke the bridge truss into manageable pieces, allowing salvage crews to clear the wreckage. The incident initially halted traffic at the Port of Baltimore, a major U.S. shipping hub. Since the crash, temporary channels have allowed some shipping to resume. Maryland estimates it will cost up to $1.9 billion to rebuild the bridge, with completion expected by fall 2028. Hezbollah leader Syed Hassan Nasrallah warned on Monday that residents of northern Israel would not be able to return home for the next school year if Israel continues its Gaza offensive. Hezbollah has been exchanging fire with Israeli forces across Lebanon's southern border, aiming to support Hamas and deter an Israeli attack on Lebanon. The conflict has displaced tens of thousands on both sides, raising fears of a larger war. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan stated on Monday that the Biden administration does not view the killings of Palestinians in Gaza by Israel as genocide. Speaking at the White House, Sullivan emphasized the U.S.'s position on defeating Hamas and acknowledged the severe impact on Palestinian civilians. He reiterated President Biden's call for a ceasefire contingent on Hamas releasing prisoners. Despite domestic criticism, Biden maintains his support for Israel, while the U.S. works urgently for a ceasefire and prisoner release deal. Sullivan also addressed accusations against Israel, reaffirming the administration's rejection of genocide claims. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan faced scrutiny on Monday after claiming that more than 1,000 Hamas members were being treated in Turkish hospitals. During a joint press conference with the Greek Prime Minister, Erdogan referred to Hamas as a resistance movement and criticized labeling it a terrorist organization. A Turkish official later clarified that Erdogan misspoke and meant that Gazans in general, not specifically Hamas members, were being treated. The confusion arose amidst ongoing evacuations of wounded Gazans to Turkey for medical care following Israeli offenses. Abu Dhabi's Technology Innovation Institute has released the Falcon 2 series, a new open-source Gen AI model that rivals those from major tech companies. The model includes a text-based AI and can also generate text descriptions from images. The move follows the 2022 release of ChatGPT by OpenAI and aligns with global trends in AI development. TII Secretary General Faisal Al-Banai expressed optimism about Falcon 2's performance, indicating that Falcon 3 is already in the works. Kylian Mbappe was named France's Player of the Year at an award ceremony in Paris, marking the 5th consecutive year he has received this honor. The 25-year-old PSG star scored 44 goals in all competitions this season. Despite PSG's recent shocking 3-1 defeat, Mbappe's 27 goals this season lead the league. His award was presented at the UNFP Trophies Gala, underscoring his dominance in the sport. Barcelona moved up to second place in La Liga after defeating Real Sociedad 2-0 at the Olympic Stadium on Monday. This marks Barcelona's 5th consecutive home league win, securing their place in next season's Champions League. Teenage winger Lamine Yamal opened the scoring for Barcelona, while Brazilian winger Rafinha sealed the win with a late penalty during injury time. Despite early pressure from Real Sociedad, Barcelona maintained composure to secure the win. With this victory, Barcelona now trails Real Madrid by 14 points and holds a 1-point lead over Girona. Thousands of Taylor Swift fans are embracing a novel solution to sky-high concert ticket prices in the US, catching her perform in Europe instead. Identified by Expedia as tour tourism, the trend is gaining popularity amongst those who miss Swift's US concerts or are seeking a more affordable way to see her again. Following her sensational 4-night stint in Paris, Swift is set to dazzle fans in Stockholm's Friends Arena with 3 consecutive shows from May 17th to May 19th. Fans are turning concert going into a travel experience, finding it cheaper to see Swift in Europe than in the US, boosting local economies along the way. Childish Gambino, also known as Donald Glover, is embarking on his first tour in 5 years, the New World Tour, which begins in Portland on September 24th. The Grammy-winning artist will perform at the Moda Center, with the tour including 33 stops across North America before heading to Europe, the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. North American concert-goers will enjoy an opening set by Willow. The tour coincides with the release of Childish Gambino's reimagined album, featuring new tracks and collaborations. Fans can expect a memorable and affordable concert experience.